Alrighty, welcome to the midterm visual study guide. I've posted the text study guide for you to get an overview of topics. What we're going to do now is this is a data set that looks nearly identical to what you're going to see and the one you're going to be working with on the midterm. I'm going to walk through how to do all of the steps with you to make sure that you have a solid understanding of how to use the software, how to do each thing. You are welcome to download the data set and work along with me, follow along, pause as often as you need to. If you know how to do everything we do in this video, you absolutely should get 100% on your final. You should actually get above 100% because some of them are bonus questions. So I'm sitting here with the midterm actually pulled up right next to me to make sure I don't miss anything. So let's imagine for this make-believe data set that what we have done is pulled a group of students and asked them about their test anxiety. Let's say we are doing a test anxiety workshop, okay? So our experimental group is going to be the one that took this test anxiety class workshop. Our control group is going to be the group that did not. We've given them a test anxiety pre-test and a test anxiety post-test. Maybe we've wanted to see if some of their general life stressors are impacting their test anxiety, so we've thrown that in there. And then we wanted some additional information about them, their age, what type of high school they went to, their major, how many semester hours they take, and then how many hours they work at the same time as their semester hours. So on the text study guide, you will notice that your first step is that you are supposed to identify which variables would be nominal, ordinal, and interval ratio. Remember, nominal variables are anything that you're naming. It does not necessarily have a number that goes with it. So the type of high school, the major, those would both be things that the participant is just naming what it is. We don't really have any ordinal variables in this example data set, but we do have lots of interval variables, right? What their scores were on these scales, the number of hours they work, the number of credit hours they take, their age. Those would all be example of interval variables. So first you're going to need to know how many participants were in your data set. There's a few ways to do this, but the fastest, easiest, at least for a small data set, come over here to data view, and scroll all the way down to the bottom. Look at the number. There's 100. You can also get that through your frequencies, which is what we're going to do right now. Because maybe you don't just want to know the number of participants. Maybe you want to know the number in a certain group. Let's say I want to know the number of participants that were public school, private school, homeschooled. I go to frequencies. I have high school type over here. Okay, so it would have been over here. I move it over here. And since I'm asking something related to a nominal variable, I'm not interested in mean, standard deviation. I just want my frequency table, right? So I click OK. And I have a frequency, there we go, table that was slow. I had 59 in public school, 31 in private school, 10 in homeschool. And I can verify that my total N was 100. But let's say that maybe I want to look at this in a different way. Let's say maybe I am wanting to look at one of my interval variables and I want to know the mean and standard deviation. And maybe I also want to know the percentage under a certain value. Maybe I want to know what percentage of my students are taking less than 5 credit hours every semester, or 5 or fewer credit hours. So I could come over here again to descriptive statistics and frequencies. I can click on number of credit hours this semester. I can tell it this time I do want my mean and my standard deviation. And I can click OK. And so now I can see, again, I can verify that my N was 100. The mean number of credit hours was 9.61. The standard deviation was 4.41. And if I wanted to say how many of my students take 5 or fewer credit hours in a semester, I can come over here and I can see 24% of my participants in this data set are taking 5 or fewer hours. And remember, if I decided this was too many numbers and I wanted to group them, maybe I wanted to see 3 to 6, 7 to 10, 11 to 15, and 15 or higher. That would be called a what? Pause me and answer. That would be a grouped frequency table. You will